Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Wednesday, September 4th, 2024 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I expand and evolve through embodied presence. And this morning is a good morning to breathe your way through it all. Kind of a testy morning. So we have Mars shifting today. Mars will be moving into Cancer at 12:46 p.m. Pacific time. But before that, Mars is making two challenging aspects. We have the Moon square Mars, and so that brings a little challenge aspect. And then we have Mars in conjunct Pluto, which the inconjunct's always a weird thing, but definitely can bring up some strife and power struggle energies. Now, what I like in this is that we do have the moon shifting into Libra in the midst of all of this. And so that moon in Libra is like, can we all get along? But if the moon in Libra sacrifices inner peace for trying to make the outer harmony, I feel like in this energy, it's a recipe for chaos. Your best bet in this energy is really being present with yourself. Really recognizing any mirrors anybody's giving you in this energy for you to recognize your own power struggles. That's, I think, the biggest thing when it comes to like Mars and Pluto engagements is power struggle and how fast it can go to 0 to 60 in eruption terms. So in this inconjunct, Pluto and Mars aren't really sure how to work together. Now, in an ideal world, Mars in Gemini, this final last little bit of Gemini, especially connecting to Pluto in Capricorn in this last connection of this, is the mind empowering the Plutonic energy. So your mind can help serve where you have felt disempowered, where you have felt like a victim, especially in regards to Capricorn energy. Where is Capricorn in your chart? So for me personally, as a Sagittarius, Capricorn is second house for me. And since 2008, I have been on a ride of finances, going from making decent money for myself to like, oh my goodness, it's been a ride. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. And definitely up and down at times. And so my work personally right now is seeing where I can work with my mind to empower where I have not felt empowered around finances, around my gifts, around my talents, right? Wherever that is for you, you may feel this strife, but can you empower it mentally? But you may feel some of those puny feels, and it's okay for you to feel it. I do believe that sometimes feeling it is part of the healing. I think it's part of the contrast that reminds us that we want for something else, we want for something more, and that we can lean into that we can reach for that, and even believing that we can have it. We also, like I said, might see reflections of this outside of ourselves. We also may experience that moon in Virgo, which is like squaring these energies. Well, it's squaring Mars, it's trining Pluto. Virgo can be the voice of reason. It can be the voice of logic. And the voice of reason, the voice of logic has oftentimes been what's pulled the carpet out from under me. And unfortunately, the voice of reason, the voice of logic, that is one possibility of a world full of infinite possibilities. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to logic, because logic also can have sound advice. And so we're working with these energies, and it's definitely very interesting, but we may feel kind of reactive in it. And so just be very aware. Like, this is Lamborghini Astro 0 to 60 zoom. So just you'll be fine and like, oh, what a wonderful world. Zoom. So watch for that. It reaches its peak at 10:59 a.m. So like 11 a.m. Pacific time. So where I live, that's around 1 p.m. East Coast, that's 2 p.m. A little bit later over in Europe, you may feel it building through the day. Just be very aware of that. But be aware, if you sacrifice your own peace as well to try to make it nice, I also think that pot is going to simmer over. Now, I'm not saying be nasty to somebody for your own peace, because I don't think that's the way either. I think there's a way that we can find that balance and find that peace, and sometimes we have to put ourselves on timeout, and today could be, I need to put myself on timeout. I need to and breathe kind of day. So, after that connection, Mars will be moving into Cancer. And when Mars moves into Cancer, it's going to be a very different energy. Like, we go from the Gemini energy, who, what, where, when, how, why, to, I want to say settled, but I wouldn't say that Cancer is necessarily settled. But it's definitely an energy with slower waves. What you need to watch for with Mars in Cancer is what I am preparing for you today. You may find yourself feeling more emotionally reactive with Mars in Cancer. And so watch for that, especially arguments with family, arguments about like the home. All of that is going to start peaking up. You may also find some of your deeper wounding coming to the surface about needs being met or not met, whether it's by yourself, whether it was you like meeting your needs or not meeting your needs, family members doing that, even wounds from your childhood coming to the surface and needing to be expressed. Mars is ruled by Aries, and when we deal with Aries energy, I often say it needs movement. Mars also needs movement, and so sometimes movement is part of the healing. Sometimes moving into a certain position, like child's pose even, is a healing potentiality. So keep that in mind through Mars in Cancer. Now, Mars in Cancer is going to be extending for us because we have a Mars retrograde beginning not till December, but beginning in the sign of Leo and coming back into Cancer. So we're going to be working with this energy long term, which I think means we're going to have some emotional movement and expression. What was the song I was just listening to? Oh my God. Take your vibes and go. I'm still tired from the night Wolf got out, and I was out so late trying to get her. That's why I had a headache, by the way. I don't do well without sleep. So, but with Mars in Cancer, you may feel that, especially about others. Take your vibes and go. It was a fun song. Very dancey. It was helping psych me up for this energy. I also think Mars in Cancer can be delightful. You may find yourself actually putting work into your home, into yourself, into your cooking. And especially at the beginning with the Sun in Virgo, this is a nice balance for self-care. And so aligning your actions with care for yourself, for others, is a beautiful example of what Mars in Cancer can bring. But just realize, like, I think we're all big babies at times, right? I think Mars in Cancer can definitely bring the big babies out. So watch for when the temper tantrum signs are happening. And if it was your own child, what would you do to help cater to the needs? Because I think a lot of times when we're having those temper tantrums, like, I don't judge it as bad, because a lot of times, I actually remember for myself as a child, I remember the temper tantrums. My sisters tell me about the temper tantrums, and I remember the feeling of the temper tantrums. My mom, a Cancer, had a love of shopping, especially at like Marshall's, and could like live there. Like, she would just be there. From what my perspective was hours. And I remember this feeling of drudgery and exhaustion, and even just feeling the intensity of like those terrible overhead lights, and just feeling the exhaustion and just needing that rest, right? And throwing temper tantrums about it. And so a lot of times when we are pushed to the point of temper tantrum, it is because there are basic needs that are not being met that need to be met. And so if you find yourself feeling that for the next however long, how long is Mars going to be in Cancer for? I didn't even look that up before I started. I just dove in. On and off for the next many months. Like, gosh, I do think it goes into like late January. So on and off for a while, we're going to be working with this energy. And even moving forward, like, this is not exclusive to astrological temper tantrums. So even moving forward, if you find yourself in temper tantrum range, where are you not showing up for your basic needs? Where do you need to show up for yourself? This is a way that we can all heal. After that, the Astro goes AWOL. The Astro's like, okay, I'm done. And you may feel that too. Mars will be at 0. That is the wonk zone. So do watch for that 0 energy. Moon in Libra. Just keep coming back to your own inner balance. Keep coming back to honor your sense of peace, your sense of balance, your sense of center. We will have the Moon and Venus meeting tomorrow in Libra, and I think that'll be a good recalibration after some of the intensity of this week. Is the intensity over? No. There's more to come. There's lots of yads to come, but we're moving in the right direction. So I have an interesting, like, kind of 2 sets of cards with the Wheel of Fortune in the middle, and it's kind of like an either or thing, right? So we have the Patience card. If you can find your patience in this energy, if you can find your serenity, inner peace, if you can find that, right? We move towards success. Eye of the Tiger, moving in the direction we want to go in. I even think of that with whether it's the Mars and Gemini, aligning our thoughts, empowering our thoughts as it connects to this Pluto energy, even if it feels uncomfortable to do so. And there's some growth for us. And sometimes the growth is a little uncomfortable, but wow, what a beautiful set of energy this is. Wheel of Fortune. Or we go into the isolation in the mind, right? And these are both mental cards. So I would say, watch your mind today with this Pluto energy, with this Pluto inconjunct, and even with the Moon in Virgo. Watch the critical nature, because I think you isolate yourself from blessings, and it's hard to see. It's hard to see when we do that. But either way, both of these cards look like they need a good cry. And so that might be part of the energies needed today. A good cry. This keeps happening, that I notice the card on the bottom. Slowing down is the card on the bottom as I put it aside. Slow down in this energy. Breathe before you react. We can do it, fire signs. We can do it. So, I'm going to leave that here for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. And the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and remember who you are, for you are the solution. Namaste.